when are you going into the Hall of Fame, Risha?
I don't know if it'll be happening. I think I'll be getting into like the Hall of Blame.
Hall of
Blame? Yeah, or just like the Bard section, which is a real shame.
It really is.
It is a real shame. But you're getting better at this script reading. You've come a long way.
I know.
Definitely
practice makes perfect. Not that I've read that already this morning. That was my first time.
Was it?
I'm now reading kids' books at night. So when I read to the kids, I just think it's helped me read better.
And are you reading any safari books? Is there a reason why you came in like a zebra today?
Hold on a minute. If you're going to come from my outfit, what the is that? It looks like someone on the top of your black top. Sorry, Bo, you're going to have to
That's a lie.
break
That's
that.
not true. I look fantastic today. I look great.
You did come in and I went, oh, hello. Maternity.
Yeah.
Becoming a thing. Starting to see pregnant women's footballers. Ilstead from Arsenal, for example. What's the situation now if I am, or say Risha, signs a new contract, whatever, can she get maternity written in there now and paid?
Do you want to talk about your maternity position? Or?
Well, I am expecting, if you didn't know, so...
What are you expecting?
What are you expecting? I don't know. A breakdown.
Cut.
Sorry. But on that, when you spoke about the women's game and contracts, and you're seeing a lot of teams with shorter contracts, would you think there's maybe something in there where they go, oh, well, don't want them getting pregnant?
Well, it's funny you bring it up because it's a topical issue that has come up 2 or 3 times recently in our negotiations. So at a very basic level, a few years ago, FIFA improved the rules for female players, which I understand are basically 2/3 of pay for 14 weeks. So that's
2/3 pay for 14 weeks?
Exactly.
That's it?
Yeah. Is that the FIFA?
That's the FIFA.
That's the FIFA regulations.
policy.
Yeah. Man, so get you maybe like some milk.
We've seen AC Milan. They're going to lead the way now, aren't they?
They've got a full creche and everything.
Which is interesting. We'd seen one of the top teams in the Championship recently have a talk about this.
Yeah.
And basically the owner's like, I'm not interested. We're keeping it the FIFA regulations. And you look and go, wow.
Yeah.
That's people that are meant to be at the top.
Yeah. And the problem is FIFA's got 200 plus national associations. They're all at different stages of their journey of embracing women's football and giving it the attention it deserves. So different leagues and different associations are more progressive than others. So FA actually is probably slightly ahead of the curve because it's got 100% of pay for 14 weeks. But then you've got like the German league, which was behind the curve. I think they only brought their policy in line with FIFA like the end of last year, and they've got massive clubs. You've then got clubs like Milan, AC Milan, who are, as you say, putting their head above the parapet and saying, well, actually, we're going to be a pioneer here. I think they've said that if a player's contract is due to expire during that maternity period, then there'll be an automatic renewal.
Nice.
Which is a huge risk.
Yeah.
Huge risk for any player. But then you've got the NWSL, because they've got a collective bargaining agreement, and they've got like 6 months, and they've got all the benefits on top of that. So I think the maternity piece is a good example of where there's a lot of inconsistency, and that creates issues whenever you're negotiating contracts. But the other thing I would say, which is an even more important, or just as an important issue, is sponsors and brands. They're not bound by the FIFA rules or the FA rules or the football regulations generally. I had an endorsement deal recently for a top player in the WSL. And I was reviewing the contract and I came across this kind of, hidden clause at the back of the agreement. And it basically said, and this is a global brand that is holding itself out as being like pioneer for women's football. If the player becomes pregnant, we can terminate immediately.
Wow. It's shocking, isn't it? I would look at it too and you go, if you think of the women's game, I know this is totally different, but if you think of the women's game right now and you think of injuries, what is the most common injury in the women's game? ACL. You're out for 9 months to a year.
Yeah.
Good point, Ru. Good point.
Why do they get so touchy on this situation about female players getting pregnant?
Well,
how did you respond to that? How do you respond to that in writing? It's
that's one of those where like we got to read it 3 times to make sure it actually says what you think it says, and then when you realise it does, you think that's got to be a mistake. That's got to be a mistake because that is reputationally.
Yeah.
I obviously can't say who that brand is, but reputationally, that is. Disastrous.
Unless it's a contraceptive brand, that's the only thing I could think. Which I imagine it's not. Like come on, that's disgraceful behaviour.
I think credit in NWSL right now because they're helping the women's players. They're going, okay, we'll help you check and see how fertile you are. We'll see how everything's working. We'll see, can we freeze your eggs? And that's part of your contract while you're at club. Obviously, if you leave the club, I think that's then void how it works, unless you want to go away and pay separately. But
yeah, insurance is a massive point. I mean, we're saying to our players that actually having, more on the injury side, having insurance is obviously a massive benefit. But again, that's responsibility for clubs and leagues as well. On the injury front, I think the standard WSL player contract basically says that a club cannot terminate for 18 months if a player gets a long-term injury. So that is a fairer position than what we've seen in the past. But there's still improvement to be made, I think.
Yeah, and it's funny, but it's not funny that's the wrong word. But when we have looked at players who have gone off and had children, Melanie Paul springs to mind. They come back better shape than ever. They come back ready. They come back different, mentally, physically. The thing is now, which you've started to see in clubs, is for example, Emma McCandy, won't mind us saying, she's been here before, is the difference in then managing players who have had children, because that's not something they've seen often, but it's becoming more and more, happening more in women's football. But it has to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
Women have children. Okay, and you're right, they could have a 9-month injury. Why not support them during a birth of a child?
Absolutely.
Like, that's just
I think
crazy.
even now what you're saying, reputation, you're going, surely some clubs might go, oh, this does not look great.
Yeah, I guess, not that I would defend clubs, but clubs will say, what's the FA position? What's the position that has trickled down from FIFA? FA have set their position, we're simply implementing that. But at the same time, clubs have a voice at the table. So everyone, all of the stakeholders in the game have a responsibility, just like the big brands and the big sponsors. They've got a responsibility.
That is a brand, right? That's a brand. Yeah. But say that where something similar of a women's football contract, where a club can state that your contract can be ripped up if you are to fall pregnant. I would not be surprised if it's happened before. There's players who don't feel protected by the club currently when they have children, kind of thing. It doesn't mean because you have a baby you can't play football.
Again, some clubs think, oh, no, this is just allowing players to go, well, I'm going to fall pregnant and I'm going to get paid, then I'm going to get another contract extension, hopefully fall pregnant again, and then I'm going to keep doing that. You're like, but in reality, that doesn't happen. Is there a fear factor there that could happen? But it's like, people play football, women's players play football because they love playing football. But at the same time, they should be allowed to have a family and enjoy that too. And if it's possible, let it happen. You will have players, like my generation of players are pretty much under the, oh, well, I can't have a baby until I finish playing, because you've not got the security of a contract or an income. So it's like you focus on, I'll keep playing. And I should have just got pregnant when my Achilles were up there.
Honey, there was nobody available.
Yeah, that's also true. Also true. So.
Nobody was up for that.
Yeah.
Ever.
Okay.
Ever. Johnny?
Where do we go from?
Sperm donor.
Yes.
I
I thought it was Callum Best. I thought you were sorted.
We'll do both. Two different baby daddies.
Yeah, you could do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a strong gene pool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Northern Ireland.
Is this awkward?
That's how we've got that connection there.
Yes.
Got the link.
So Amy Fuller is from Northern Ireland.
Yes.
Interesting fact. Callum Best, obviously strong blood from Belfast.
I didn't know Amy Fuller was from Northern Ireland.
Yeah, grew up there. Do you either you have a soft spot for people from Northern Ireland, or you run out of people from Northern Ireland, and I'm all that's left?
Well, my nanny was from Belfast, so it's just.
Oh, of course, yeah. So we're all friends here.
We're all linked. We're all cousins. We're all family in here now, I guess.
Yeah, we're all in a lovely big tree. Johnny, just before we let you go, thank you for being here. But how much of a change are we expected to see in the coming years, or in the coming windows with women's football?
Yeah, I think we're going to see that. The growth of the player contract continue. I think the other interesting thing quickly to mention is we're starting to see kind of concepts and structures from the men's game creep into the women's game, which is not a good thing. So obviously we talked about where there's good examples of things that you want to replicate, but actually I think there's too many examples at the minute, too many live examples of where almost people look at structures that have been in the men's game for a long time and think, well, that we simply need to copy and paste. For example, be good to get your view on this, like boot deals in the women's game.
Oh yeah.
We're starting to see them creep in. I don't know what the player dressing room view of a boot deal is. Is it a case of, well, you know, if I'm offered a boot deal from Nike or Adidas or Under Armour or New Balance, that means like I've made it or something. But from the business side of things, and bearing in mind like the business of women's football, the business of men's football could not be more different. Our view very strongly is boot deals don't make sense for a player.
Well, Johnny, that's why I've never signed one. It's not
and you've
because
been
I've
offered several.
I've been offered
yeah, I mean, your
several.
agent's brought you a number.
So, exactly, yeah.
But like on a serious point, like what do players think about boot deals?
Honestly, I think you're right. I think people think you get a boot deal, happy days, you are, look at me, I'm a player. I'm a name, I've kind of made it. Not saying everyone has that opinion, but I do think in women's game it is kind of like, oh, well,
But I think
I've got a boot deal. I think everyone should I do think players shouldn't have to pay for their boots. So I think it's good that some agents can bring that in and offer. I'm not saying they get 10 pairs of boots a season, but I know I can go to my agents and say, look, can I get you a pair of boots? And they will do that for me. And I think that's a nice thing to be able to have, because again, you look at women's salaries and it's, do you know what I mean? What are boots? £300 now. So you're going, do you want to get a pair of molds and a pair of studs? You're talking £600 for a pair of boots, two pairs of boots. Yeah, it's mental these days.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. So.
But I think you're right. It's also like an educational thing around, like, if a boot deal is offered to me, should I just sign it? Well, why shouldn't I sign it? And the reason why I don't think they make sense is because if it's Adidas or Nike or Under Armour or New Balance or whoever of those kind of big brands, they will put in those contracts more often than not, in our experience, that the player cannot basically work with any competitor brands, which makes sense on the face of it. The problem is competitor brand is sometimes defined as being luxury fashion, headphones, drinks brands, smartwatch brands, fitness tracker brands. And I'm then saying to the player and the agent, if you sign this deal, the money, by the way, isn't particularly great. If you sign this deal, you basically are restricted from doing anything else. And again, back to what we talked about earlier, these commercial deals for female players, the top female players, they're really important because the salaries are lower. So anyway, that's my long-winded rant about boot deals not working in the women's game.
I feel like we're due a therapy session because
I said to you just now, the amount of times I went to voice note you, message you, and I just thought there's nothing that I can say.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I'm just going to leave it. I really felt for you and your sister.
I know. In case you missed it, by the way, I left here last week, jumped on the flight to Heathrow, got to Dublin for Ireland versus Wales in the second leg of the playoff to get to the Euros. All credit to Wales because they did the job. You had Rhiannon Wilkins, she had the devil on her show today, and now she sits here smiling.
No, she's my old teammate with the Boston Breakers, so Rhiannon,
wow, you know everyone.
I know. I mean, I've played for a number of teams. If you look at my Wikipedia page,
more clubs than Tiger Woods. This one.
Why are you using my line? I was just about to say that.
She's been in more clubs than Tiesto. Hello, legend.
Hello. That's quite welcome. Don't mind legend. I'll keep that status. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we'll say it to everyone.
Translate to me.
She gets all the time. How long before she says it? Do you know she won the Champions League?
Don't worry, we all know that.
It comes up now and then.
See, I didn't bring it up yet. You did.
That's true. That's true. It's my own fault. How are you? How's things? Welcome to the Kickback. It's nice to have you with us.
No, thank you for having me. Yeah, it's been busy. It's a very busy time of year, not only because it's Christmas, but middle of season. Lots going on. Build up to Stamford Bridge games, Kings Meadow games, Champions League. So it's everything you want it to be, except I'm in the warmth and not on the pitch anymore, so I'm quite happy.
So Chelsea legend, played for the Lionesses, but now your role has kind of developed into part of Chelsea Football Club. Tell any of the fans who might not know about your situation now, what you're up to.
Yeah, so I retired last March. I had about 3 months of retirement, played a bit of golf, bit of paddle, drank lots of coffee.
Paddle. If I had one more person say paddle.
I was there before anyone else, can I just admit? Now it's become like the cool thing to do. And then about 3 months, when I was going to retire, Emma Hayes spoke to me and said, you need to tell me when you're going to retire. So I said to her, I'm thinking about it this summer. And she was like, I want to introduce you to someone. And we just employed a commercial director for the women's team. So I met Zara Al-Qudsi, who's now CRO of the new league. So I was working with her. She decided to meet me for a coffee and employ me as a commercial manager for the women's team. So my title sounds very fluffy, but I'm basically a salesperson. So it's my job to sell the women's team to brands and investors throughout this country and other countries that want to be involved. So I feel very privileged. I get to tell the journey and the story of what Chelsea is and what it's like to be an amateur, semi-professional, and what eventually was a professional footballer, and what it's like now, and kind of how the game's grown hugely, and investment is always needed within the game to help it keep growing. So yeah, that is my job.
Good.
Most people might not know this, but me and Carly grew up together at younger national teams at England.
Yeah.
We've been to World Cups together. Another person.
Another one she knows.
Of course. But like, what was it like kind of still playing when the women's game was kind of obviously winning the Euros, that type of stuff?
Yeah.
Like, because obviously we used to get battered by Germany. I say it all the time. Got beat
that one World Cup, mate, that bronze medal.
Bronze medal
it,
apart
right?
from them, but we got beat 6-2 in the Euros in Finland. Then we got beat 3-0 at Wembley, the one game in 10 years it was at Wembley. And then like now you've kind of been in it when you've won.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, it was insane. Like, I was in America playing when the girls obviously were at the Euros, and I decided to I had a conversation with Serena about not playing for England at this point when she joined. Look, we had Ellie, Hannah, Mary, Sandy, all chomping at the bit and doing so well.
It's crazy.
And I was kind of like, I was third choice at Chelsea. I wasn't really, it sounds bad, playing wasn't the thing. I was more helping like Sachiran and Anne, Katrin get ready for games. Like, that was my thing.
I was laughing like
I
that.
was like,
I say this all the time to players like Gilly as well. Like, Carly did not get anywhere near as many caps for England as she should have.
done.
Nowhere near.
And look, but I had Karen Bardsley and like Siobhan Chamberlain and people coming in and around, and it's like, it's controversial. And did I want more caps? Of course I did. Was I in a space where I don't get to make that choice? That's up to the people in charge, right? But like, I was 35, and Serena was going like, we need the experience, and I was like, being like, I'd love to, but I just don't think I've got like enough in me to give you what you need and the girls what they need. And like, say the girls were brilliant, and they went on and won the Euros. Like, you can't argue the fact that was absolutely correct. Serena had the conversation with me, but to watch them go and do, and obviously Casey Stoney was my manager, so Casey had gone through all that, again, very much our generation. And we was on the plane coming back from a game, and we were both in tears because we knew that it was going to completely change not only the lives of those women in that changing room, but for girls for the rest of their lives, and everyone that surrounded it. We probably wouldn't be sat here having this conversation if it wasn't for that.
Like, losing and knowing what it meant to play for England, and it was always focused on like winning, wasn't it? And we never did. Apart from the bronze medal, which is still amazing.
We spoke so much about it, and it was kind of like, what did Germany and USA have over us? Like, they believed they had like a good culture, all these things we talk about, but how do you bottle that up and put it on a pitch? And I just think that, it was like, through everything, the characters, the blend of like the older girls, the younger players, like whatever it was, there was just a bit of magic in that squad that made it happen, and put then the country behind it, the fans, like being at home, like it is the home of football. Like it just was so special. So I was watching it from afar, and people were like, oh, do you not wish you just no? My time had come and gone. It was time for someone else to do that, and they did it. And it's like, I'm incredibly proud to say I was part of that journey, probably like Leanne. And our times came, we had our moments, and we didn't take them, and that's just how it is, and that's how football is. And there was probably better players than us that also missed those opportunities. So, like, for the girls who've gone and done that, and like for those doors to now have been opened, it's fantastic for everyone.
Do you know what though, Carly? I still don't know how goalkeepers do this, right? Because as an outfield player, when you're on the bench, you know you're coming in at some point, potentially as a forward, right? If you're second or third choice keeper, like psychologically, like how do you know, it's amazing to play for your country. It's the best privilege ever. But like, how do you psychologically, like, if you're a second or third and you know it's going to take something happening, really, an injury or a mistake, the goalkeeper goes in. Like, how did you do that for so many years?
It's pretty mental, really, when you think about it. But I just loved it. Like, I got left out of squads as well, like that Finland 2013 Euros. Hope left me out of that squad. And I just thought to myself at that point, like, I don't want to be sat at home. I'd rather go with that squad, and if I was sat on the bench, I'd rather be there than miss out completely. So I was like, I will give it my all. And again, it's out. You learn very quickly as a footballer that like opinions around you don't matter. The opinions that do are your family and friends. Even the manager, like you can only do so much. But if a manager doesn't like the way you play, the way you are, like that's just how it is. And you can do everything you can, but I would rather have been in that squad, in that dressing room, as a player, as number one is the thing I wanted to be, but 13, 21, whatever it was as a lioness, than to be sat at home and watching from afar. So I did my utmost to be in every squad I could. And play that support.
Because it's easier said than done. Because I found it difficult. And I think mostly the reason why I found it difficult is because coaches didn't really have the best communication. If a coach communicates with you and says, you're not going to be playing, you're not going to be happy, are you?
No.
But the lack of communication, I think, thankfully in the women's game, I think it's got better. Because that's great that Serena had that conversation with you when you were playing over in San Diego.
And I think she continued that multiple throughout her tenure in terms of I think that's been a consistent thing from Serena. But communication was huge. It was a difficult position to be in when I knew maybe I was playing and that other goalkeeper wasn't, but she was still playing ahead of me. How do you deal with that? And my thing was do my toys come out of the pram? No. Do I want to be on that plane, going to a World Cup, going to a Euros, being with my friends, making memories? Absolutely. And you know what it is? You never know what's going to happen. 2019 World Cup, KB gets injured. All of a sudden, not only have I got my first World Cup cap against Argentina, second game in, and we won. All of a sudden, I was playing in a semi-final of a World Cup. So my mentality was if I'd just been chucked it all out and be I'm chilling, it's a holiday, I'm second, third choice. I come to that game, I'd absolutely pooed myself. Because I had no capacity. I had not trained properly. So I got in there and I knew I was ready for that moment. And you could argue that I'd trained for it since I was 18, because technically I had, right? But it's all at moment. Football's about moments. Whether you're scoring the goal, saving the shot, the penalty, whatever it is. Especially elite football, elite sport, it is about moments, and that's what you get remembered for.
That's it. At the World Cup in 2015, when we won the bronze, I was absolutely fuming. I got benched. I played every minute up until the World Cup. But he didn't have a conversation with me, and that was the biggest problem. But I always knew there would be a moment, and you're right. It's hard to stay in it when a coach isn't communicating with you. But then when I came on in that game, I was the third choice off the bench. I knew there'd be a moment, and I won the penalty, and then Farah could step up and take it. But all these girls, everybody, we were such a good team, weren't we? Together, we had a lot of banter off the pitch. We had videos that went viral, I think, much to the dismay of the FA, because there was one of us going up under the escalator.
Yeah, seeing
we were doing Colo Touré chanting and the Yaya Touré one. And it was just memories that you can't bring back. And I don't miss playing, but I do miss that camaraderie. When you win something, even when you lose, you learn a lot about each other. But we all grew up together. I used to see Carly and Jill and all the girls more than I saw my own family from a young age.
Especially if you're in a team together. So if you're Arsenal, Chelsea, whatever, you live and breathe. You literally are family. And when I say you're family, it means that not everyone always likes each other. But when it comes to the main event and the party, everyone just has to get on for those 90 minutes and then you'll get to go and do your thing again. Because it is you can't create perfect harmony. We are 25 women that all want to be starters, all want to win things, but everyone, and it comes down to communication and leadership. If you can make everyone feel as valuable as each other within that dressing room, you'll be successful, and that's key to it.
Have you missed me?
I have missed you, actually.
I felt you, again, coming on a bit strong. You get a bit clingy. You get a bit desperate when you text me stuff, and I'm just I'll text you when I'm ready to text you, but you just come on a bit strong.
Don't you think
it's something you need to work on?
You need to stop playing games. Stop playing games with my feelings.
I thought you meant football. I thought you're right. You're right there.
You need to stop that too.
Stop that.
Because you're I'm joking, you're fabulous, honey. Go on your debut?
That's right.
For the Rovers?
Closed my eyes, seen what happened, went in.
Gosh.
That was it.
Jordan, how's things with you? Because you're at Aston Villa now. You're the all-time appearance holder in the WSL. Did you know that stat was coming when it happened? Because it was only recent.
Yeah, I only knew about a week and a half before it. They said, you're coming up to the appearance holder. And I was like, no, obviously you're not adding up your games when you're at home. When that moment came, obviously I didn't want to jinx anything. I was just I'll just take it game by game. And I think it's never a goal in football, is it? That you're oh my God, I want to play as many games as possible and tally it up. But I think, starting as a little kid and then getting that type of moment, it is still quite special, especially with the women's game's tough now. It's tough to play competitively and keep your spot and everything like that. So it was a nice moment.
It is. It's brilliant for you. And I remember when it was all over the news kind of that weekend, I was like, fair play. Because I think back to when you were young, because you'd be similar ages actually. I remember being up the road and always hearing about Jordan Nobbs. And I think where the game is now, you've been through all of that journey.
Yeah, I think I saw a stat or something the other day, and there was only about 7 players that started that started the first WSL game are still like in the league.
Oh wow.
So yeah, it shows how far the game's come, and I mean, I guess me and Rusha have seen so many changes of like training twice a week to then it going full time to then the crowds tripling in size. It's been an incredible journey, really.
I think that must be nice for you, like rolling back the years when you first started, and then when, say, you got your move to Arsenal, things start getting more professional. I don't know, were you at Arsenal when they're training in Even still?
Yeah, so
So you went through that journey to then being their full-time player, playing in massive stadiums. But that's an impressive start, saying that. Like, you're one of the players that have been there from the beginning, and you're still there, like, with all the changes going on. So credit to yourself, Jordan. That's fantastic.
Thank you. I know people forget that we trained 5 till 7 on AstroTurf, and at the time we used to actually go to Hertfordshire gym to do our gym. Like, we didn't even really do it in the training ground, didn't have a changing room. We used to just turn up with our boots. And you think about that being like Arsenal at the time. It's just how things change so rapidly, and incredible to be like in the women's game right now.
Absolutely. I mean, Aston Villa, Rue, you played there a couple of seasons ago. It's been a tough season, hasn't it? It's been a tough campaign. Yeah. How's the mood in the dressing room?
Yeah, you know, you can't lie. It's tough. It's not for lack of trying or lack of effort. We've had games where we should have got 3 points, and then we've had some poor performances, but it's just about us staying up now. You know, it's about the fight and the drive to stay up. So it's not going to be easy, but we have to deal with that pressure right now. Every game's crucial. But yeah, it's never an easy position for any team to be in, is it? And we've just got to push from now to get a win.
Yeah, I think when you look at the quality of the squad, and obviously there's been a lot of money spent, so it's crazy to think that Villa are in this position. But I do think, 4 games left? I'd be very surprised if Villa went down. I think, you know, a win, a draw should keep you up. But what's it like right now in the changing room? Is it a lack of belief, or do you watch back games and go, sometimes it's like, I watched a bit of the game yesterday against United, and you're going, it's little tweaks. It's just little tweaks. And is there a bit of like desire in there, like just being aggressive, defending in the box? Do you know what I mean? It's like, is it that? Just watch it back and go, you know, that's on us as players, or how do you feel right now?
Yeah, I mean, like you'll probably know, it's never easy changing managers a lot in the season. But I think when we look back at probably some of our goals, they have been like, you know, us as players have to stand up there. You can do all the coaching in the world, but there's moments where us as players have to take responsibility. So, you know, you never want to play a blame game. We're the ones on the pitch at the end of the day. But yeah, we just have to fight now. And them little tweaks, yeah, they are crucial. Especially the start of the season, we had some great performances, and then we're conceding in the 85th minute. You know, and it does wipe a little bit out of you, doesn't it? You know, you're playing as good as you can. But like you said, we truly believe we're going to stay up. But we have to take them big wins, you know, the Brightons, the Tottenhams. They're going to be big games for us.
And I do, but even though I've enjoyed Palace in the WSL, it's going to become a bit of a dogfight down there, you know, at this moment. But I think Aston Villa, especially over the last few years, the way the club really have invested properly, you know, I feel they really have built up the women's team. It feels like one big club community where everybody's in it together. It's not like the men and the women and the segregation. Is it like that on the inside?
It's getting there. You know, obviously I've come from a big club like Arsenal, which has had history over a very long time. I think that can still be pushed in certain areas, but you know, you can see we're trying to push into that level. I mean, obviously when Rusha was there as well, like getting a top 5 finish when we got 5th, it's just them tiny things. This just hasn't been our season, but I think we've got the club as a whole, the development to push in the right direction. It's just getting it over the line.
Obviously, you played in England for a long time. What is the level of football like? How does it compare?
So our team in Juventus, it's amazing. The quality in the training is really high. The intensity, like we have everything. Then you have other teams, like for example, some teams still play on Astro. And that's a bit sad because you know how it is with the body and stuff. If you have a game on Astro, it's just different. So the quality of the pitch and stuff is not so good.
Okay.
But I played 6 years in England, and England obviously, you have the best grass. So yeah, that's just a huge difference, like the stadium.
And how is it received over there? Because I remember speaking to you back, I remember it was the whole frozen pitchgate scandal that went on at one point, where games that were all postponed because of frozen pitches. And it was a big topic of conversation then, you know, like, well, if these pitches are available for women to play on, then why can't they play on them? You know, what would be the problem? But if they're not available out there, I mean, is there a backlash? Is it the same in Italy as it would be here in England, or is it a bit calmer?
No, so in Italy, they never cancel a game, I think. Because I remember we played on really bad pitches, like really wet. The ball was not even rolling proper, and they would never cancel it. So I think like these rules, because at the end, like you want to win the league. And if you have to play on a pitch that is not really playable, it's just really difficult.
Yeah.
Because I prefer, if the pitch is bad, we postpone it and have a proper game rather than just play that it's played. You know what I mean? Because at the end, we want to be successful. We want to win the league. We want to win the cup and stuff like that. And I feel when you don't have the opportunity to always play on the best pitches, because we're professional footballers, so we want, you know, the football looks also so much better if you have like a good stadium, you have a good pitch and stuff. So yeah, it's a big different.
Have you noticed a change in approach as well? Because one thing is that it's very clear now is that women's football is getting so much more attention here. Is it the same in Italy? Do you think it's growing with the Euros coming up? I mean, you'll probably be one of the faces of Switzerland. I mean, how exciting is that, the approach from your own home country?
No, it's amazing. I think we are so lucky to have a Euro in our own country, because yeah, it never really happens, no? And I think it will be amazing. I hope it also helps the football in Switzerland, because it's not as big as well, so yeah. But for example, in Italy, I think it's growing a lot already. Yeah. Like it's, people watch. We played in the Allianz Stadium, the men's stadium, and we had like 33,000 fans, I think. So people actually come, you know? Yeah. So yeah, if they give us the opportunity, you know, then people also watch us.
It's all about the opportunity, Ruth.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about the opportunity always in life.
Yeah.
You take it or you...
Leave it. Yeah. Don't take it. End up like
You're good
me.
in that, right? Take the opportunity.
I'm not very good at it.
Yeah.
I seem to mess them up a lot. But, like, this is life. This is life.
You know, it's how we grow, it's how we learn. Also the Euros, it's 100 days until Switzerland. How do you feel about opening a tournament? I mean, has that gone into your head yet? By the way, you have incredible confidence as well. Does that help go through the team if there's going to be match day nerves opening up the European Championship?
I guess if you have the first game of the Euros, obviously we will be nervous because it's at home. Like all our family will be there, because in the World Cup, for example, my family didn't travel to New Zealand because it's just too far. But all my family will be there, and like, yeah, I can't wait for that moment.
It's going to be incredible. England looking to retain the Euros. What's your thoughts on the Lionesses? Do you think they can do it again? And also, fun stat, the last two home countries to host the Euros have won it. Does that give Switzerland more of a chance as well?
I think all good things are three, right?
Well, yeah.
So I think, you know, there's always chance in life. So I think we will give our best, obviously, and prepare as good as we can.
Do you see the Lionesses as a threat? I mean, you know them very well. You played with so many of them through Villa as well, and West Ham and the likes.
Yeah, I think they have a great team, to be honest. Yeah.
She's not giving much away.
No, I don't know what to say, but it's like, you know, they're always good. Yeah. What I'm going to say, they have so many good players in the team, like probably some of the best in the world, so... Yeah, of course.
Okay. And see how for your games, for the Switzerland games, how are you feeling about attendances? Do you think that you will fill the stadium? How are you feeling about that? Are you confident that everyone will turn up and support you?
No, I'm 100% sure.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 100% sure the stadiums will be full. I think we will have so many fans, and yeah, now it's the time, you know. I think it's a one-time thing that we have in Switzerland, and even now that we have so many more audience and stuff, so yeah,
it's very exciting. You as well, this is something we've mentioned before about you. You have such a big following. I mean, I know it's something you don't have to talk about a lot, but 16 million followers. Do you notice the increase in people who come to the stadiums to see Alisha Lehmann, not just the team?
I mean, probably. I don't know, but obviously I'm always happy. Sometimes when I go warm up or in the game, like so many people scream my name and I think, oh, it's such a nice feeling. Especially also when we had the World Cup in New Zealand and I got subbed in and just the whole stadium screamed and I was like, oh my God. I had like a little bit goosebumps, you know, because it's just moments like, this is what we dream of when we're young, and then to feel that is like, it's so good.
Yeah. I feel
so
like
good
for
feeling.
you in that moment, like going into a Euros in Switzerland, your home country, you are the kind of person that will thrive off that.
Exactly.
So when the crowd sort of cheers you, you'll gain confidence. That's the kind of player you are. So I'll be looking for big things.
Because I'm a player, I think I'm for big games. Like I love to play big games when we played in Wembley or Villa Park. I always had my best games like in the big games against the good teams, you know, and I feel like when we at the Euros and we feel this like energy, yeah, it would be so good.
Well, we saw what it did for the country here, you know, up and down the country. The lionesses winning, it changed things overnight. So for Switzerland, for you being part of the team and a big part of the team, to see that it might have that effect in your own country, it's incredible. You know, it's absolutely incredible that could be the case. One thing I wanted to speak to you about is the conversation that we'd had recently, is about the approach towards certain women at football games that women have now been reporting comments, maybe sexualised remarks that they've heard made against them. Is that something that you've noticed being a woman in football? Do people sometimes get over familiar, get a bit strange?
Yeah, I think it's always like that because people always also say, why do you wear so much makeup? Why do that? Why do that? And I think it's like, for me, everyone just do what they want. Because the thing is like, I'm a woman, right? And like, if I want to do my makeup, I do my makeup. If I want to do my nails, I do my nails. You know, it's part of me. I like to do it. So you can do whatever you want. So for me, like for example, I don't listen to these things because it's not like things that I focus on. Because I'm like confident, I'm happy, have a good energy, I smile every day, you know. I wake up happy. And yeah, but obviously it's a problem because when you have these comments on Instagram and stuff, and it's just not so very nice.
I know, and it takes so much shine away from the positivity at the moment as well.
Yeah.
What would you say is the future for you, Alisha? Do you think we'll be seeing you returning to this country at any point, or are you committed in Italy?
No, I don't know now. I still have contract 3 years, I think, or 2.5 years, and I love it. Like I love Juventus, I love the team. Forza Juve, of course.
Yeah.
No, I'm really happy there, to be honest.
Good.
So we will see what the future brings, you know. I love England. It's like my, you know, part of my heart is like English. Because I grew up here, when I came, I couldn't speak English. I didn't understand a word what she said because she was like speaking this weird English language, you know. And I was literally like, oh my, when I came here, I didn't even know we have so many different accents. And then when I met Rusha, I remember, because she was like, I'm Irish, but then she spoke like Scottish, and I was like, huh? What's going on here? And then she's like, no, I play for Ireland. And I was like, you're not speaking like Irish. You know?
I'd love to watch that all back.
Yeah.
Just the faces.
I remember the first time I met Alisha, and I was obviously there and I was quiet, didn't really know many people, and she walked in this pink suit. And I was just like...
No, it was cancer month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I was wearing pink to make
you feel bad now.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
I thought she's making a lot of effort for training. I was like, fair play.
No, that's because of them.
Yeah. So,
and then one day you did her hair for her, and it's the best her hair has ever been. So if you could do that.
No, we went on a night out for Alisha's birthday, and Alisha's sister was over, and she done my makeup and dressed me one night because I wasn't going out.
Yeah,
then,
exactly.
So
I wish you had that more often.
Yeah, I know.
I always tell her.
I know.
Put some mascara more and stuff.
Fix that.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm a natural beauty.
Get some extensions.
I got extensions recently.
Really?
Yeah, they're out now, but I had them. Yeah, I
got about 10. So we're going to need more than that.
Touching my
Clips in or
face.
something.
Just right, guys.
And then
once I stop
Alisha,
playing football, I'll do it when I've got more time to.
Don't talk to me
just
about
look glam.
time. I've got 2 kids. I'm up at 2:30 in the morning. Don't at me.
You don't sweat as much as we do.
But that doesn't affect your hair.
It does. I get curly hair.
She got her extensions done, Alisha, right? And I was like, great. And then we tried to work with it. And then every time she just put the ponytail back up again. And I was like...
But at least I had a thicker ponytail.
You don't.
No?
Yeah.
It was fuller. More energy.
Here,
But guys,
I want to see a picture after.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll get them done soon.
Can you give Rusha some style advice now? Just
Yeah.
before we... Some...
No, but I don't want to say anything.
Go say it.
Go on, give me
No, I actually like you so much.
Go on, hurry up. It's
You have
fine.
a good personality. You know how much she made me laugh all my life I'm here. Like when she's in training, it was always crazy. The things she said, like so inappropriate and stuff. And it was just funny. And you know the funny thing is, in the start, I didn't even understand what it means.
You were just laughing.
And then at the point I got it, and I was like, oh my God.
I should be laughing.
Like, what's wrong with this girl?
Well, you can give her some fashion points.
No, you're beautiful how you are.
Thank you.
Always.
You're lying.
But maybe you should dress like this.
But she looks like Nanny.
No, she looks like a mature woman.
Okay, well, I'm not
Alisha.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you very much.
whatever.
Mature women.
Whatever, guys.
Honestly,
We love you.
I'm looking at like your career, where you've been. We had a
Yeah.
discussion in the makeup room.
Yeah.
Like, where are you in terms of your personal achievements?
So yeah, I joined Ipswich, I think, to find my love again for football because I'd lost it like massively with injuries and stuff, which I was out for like 18 months, I think it was. Like I had one surgery, got back from that, it was ACL, and then had a massive setback. Like it was like 12 months into my rehab. I'd got back on the pitch, played a few minutes, and then I was like, something's not right. So club scanned it again. And then I had to have a second surgery, which was like a lot more major because I had to change surgeons as well. I had Andy Williams. He was like, you know, he does all Premier League players and stuff. And he was just like, sat me down and was like, I've only ever done this one other time to like some other academy boy in the Midlands. He was like, so I don't have the statistics to tell you like if you'll come back from this sort of thing.
Oh my God.
Because I'd ruptured LCL and then my bicep tendon, like hamstring tendon, was split down the middle. So it was quite a like difficult surgery to have to sort of do. But yeah, I mean, he'd done it and I'm back on my feet now. But I didn't think like, I just didn't know. I was just apprehensive. Like, would I come back the same? Would I feel the same? Like, would I be able to play 90 minutes? Like, it was all these things were going on in my head when it happened. But yeah, since I've been at Ipswich, like probably the best career move I've made to date because I went there to just do one thing and that was just to play and just enjoy my football again. And that is like, I really have found the love back for the game, so.
And I follow you on social media and I love seeing the pictures like of goals being scored and your celebrations. Like, you've been banging them in. You've been doing your job as well. Like.
Yeah, I have. That's it though. Like, I remember when I scored like my first game back in an Ipswich Town shirt, I scored 2 goals coming on against Exeter. And I just remember like ringing my mum after the game. I was like laid on the pitch, like literally crying my eyes out. You know, it's just like overwhelming. Like I've done it. Like I've come back, sort of thing. Knew that was just a start, but like my sister, I remember her resharing it, my older sister, on social media, and she was just like, she's got everything she needs, and it's like you can see it in just like how I'm performing, how I just portray myself, how I look and stuff like that. So that was nice to see that, you know, even like family members have seen me that low
on the floor,
and now they can like literally not acknowledge that like I've gone from there to absolutely just like thriving. Yeah, so
you're in a really good place.
Yeah.
Can I ask you? I hate to look back because obviously it must be an emotional time when you think maybe I won't play football again.
Yeah.
An 18-month injury. I remember the first time I met you.
Yeah.
I think you were nearly back.
Yeah.
You were nearly getting back.
Yeah.
To being on the pitch, and I remember then Rusha telling me, oh, her injury was an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, man. I must have got jeans on now, but if I was to get the scar out,
your battle scars?
Yeah, it's mad. I mean, I like it because it's like, it tells a story, you know what I mean? But it does look mean. It does look crazy, yeah. Yeah, it looks mad.
Get your knees out.
Let me get my knees out, yeah. But yeah.
Was it really tough in that time? Like emotionally, mentally? Because we hear a lot of players who really struggle in those times.
Yeah, I'm really like, it's mad really, because with injuries, I feel like you have no control, but you have to like be composed almost like in situations that you don't have control over. And in that time, like I'm quite a person that likes to be in control and know that I can sort of, manage things. But I had no control. Like I was literally like panicking, like, I was just in an awful place, but I've not looked back and reflected on that yet. Like this is probably the first time I've actually spoken about my injury and probably how it has affected me. I get emotional now. It was a difficult time. Like, I'm not gonna beat around the bush about it. Like it was it was crazy to just almost feel like my whole personality and who I was just taken away from me. And then it was like, well, who am I? Do you know what I mean? Because
where am I without football and stuff?
yeah, like I'm just known as, like I'm just known as Ella the football player, and that's who I know myself as. So then I was having to like think about like who actually am I without football. So it was a difficult period to be in. Yeah, it was quite like just, I don't know. Yeah, I just felt lost almost.
Oh,
but
bless
yeah,
you.
yeah. Not gonna get sad about it now because I'm back. But
You're back and you're going up. You're going up.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm on the way up. So that's the main thing. But yeah, it was definitely a difficult period.
Sorry to make that seem like emotional, but I do think when we have footballers sitting here, they all touch on how blooming hard it is, that injured period. And then it's even more difficult because it's not then like the club are promoting you. It's not then like you're playing with the rest of the players or you're training with everyone else. So it is probably quite an isolating, lonely time.
Yeah, definitely isolated, I'd say. Like,
do you think it's important, Ella, that in the discussions that you're having now, that from the beginning you're encouraged to always have other things, you know? Because you have to full focus on football if you're going to do it at the highest level, right?
100%.
But to have your other bits and bobs going on.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's probably the biggest thing that I learned because I was playing full-time like football from like 18.
Right.
So, and like you said, you have to literally all in. If you want to go the whole way and you want to take it seriously, it's like you've got to eat, sleep, bloody football. That is literally it. Like, so it's it's definitely something you've got to be in the moment with and just put your all into. But yeah, having an injury definitely made me like just realise I need something here. Like if football goes wrong or even if like I've had a bad session or a bad game, I need to make sure that I can go home and I'm just Ella, my mum's daughter, and I've got friends that I can be around and things like that. Like I really needed to try and find who I was away from that and separate the two. But yeah, so I also like got into a lot of coaching through my injury, which was like massive for me. So two of my friends have got a all girls football academy, pro to pro, and that was like somewhere I could find another identity because the kids there were unreal. Like it didn't matter to them that I was injured because in front of them was stood Ella Rutherford to them. So it was like, it was just, I felt valued again. I felt like I had another purpose. So that definitely got me through the tough times as well. So I had a bit of coaching on the side, which I really enjoyed and I still do now. So.
You're still doing that?
Yeah.
Have you got like, 20, 35 people, World Cup coming here? You're going to have one of these little superstars running amok for the Lionesses?
Yeah, that's mental, yeah. To think that as well, like, it's just, it's a really rewarding thing to do because it's like, I mean, I can give back and I can see the fans and the little kids and stuff at games, but to actually be able to be involved with like the development and their careers and stuff from like that young of an age, that you've got kids running around that are literally like this big. So I just hope that obviously I can play a part in their career as well, which is obviously part of being a footballer and the job.